Today, I want to fill in what I call what a Satanist is. I've got my books in order right now, and I've broken them down into 3 sections. The first is the history, the symbols, what we practice, why we practice it, how we use what we use. But most of all, it's about what the public views us as. They see us as evil. They see us as child abducting, molesting, murdering, and other things like that, which is not the case. We do not do this stuff, which I've stated in the past. And it was recently brought up to me that a lot of people don't understand us, and that they fear us, which I've seen that firsthand. But it was also brought up to me, it was brought into my attention by a friend of mine, that a friend of his was getting into the evocations, the conjuring, is the term he used. Now, if you don't know what you're doing, I'd recommend not doing it, because you can hurt yourself and others. However, in this first setting is what all my books, like I said, that from the history to what we practice, the connections, the history, why people fear us. For an example, back in the late 80s, early 90s, there was a little thing called the Satanic Scare, where people saw Satanists everywhere. A woman gets raped, a Satanist did it. A child gets kidnapped, a Satanist did it. A grave site gets dug up or a tombstone knocked over, a Satanist did it. Basically, that's what we call the Satanic Scare. And basically what that did was it set off a chain of events, a lot like the Salem witch trials. They took place over a 4 to 5 century long burning times. So basically, like I did before with all the witch books, the witchcraft books and stuff like that, I'm doing the same thing with all my satanic books. Now, a lot of you will probably know that I've heard of Enochian. Now, through Enochian, we have a thing called Enochian magic. It's a language. It's an alphabet. But we use it in other things, just like in Wicca or paganism. Practical sigil magic, for an example, where we use parchments. You can use that actual paper too, but it doesn't really matter. But basically, the first group is on the history. It's about what a Satanist is. It's about learning the background of each demon. Because if you're going to call forth demons, spirits, or entities, you really need to know their history. You need to know what their weaknesses are, their strengths, their category. What kind of element do they have? Are they a fire demon? Are they a water demon? You know what I'm saying? An air or earth demon. Spiritual demon. Because not all demons are human friendly. One of the other things that you want to take into consideration is, if they're not human friendly and you call them forth, how are you going to contain them? But also you want to know the symbols, what each symbol means. So basically what I've done is, like I did with the Wiccan books, the first group is on the history, it's on the symbols and everything else. The second group is the Bibles. I get a Satanism and Christian Bible, the Demonic Bible, the Satanic Bible 2012, and then you have the magic books, one of which is a protection and reversal magic book, which personally I find a lot of it funny, but there's a few things that are actually right on the mark. So I got to give Jason Miller, the horns, keep those horns up. Because of the fact that he does know what he's talking about, especially when it comes to the goddess Hecate. She's got a lot of different roles. Hecate is not only the goddess of witchcraft, but she's also the goddess of the underworld and ghosts. And that's not to be mistaken with Isis, which is the Egyptian. Hecate is actually Greek, while Isis is Egyptian. She's the mother. Kind of like Diana, if you wish, for paganism. But, like I said, these are the three sections, and one of which is called the Mechanics of Demonology. I would recommend this to you if you are a Christian watching this, because of the fact that this woman, her name is G.P. Haggard, and she, in her youth, basically experimented and had a bad, how should I put this, an example with a Ouija board, where she became physically possessed by a demon. And like I told my friend, you really need to know the background and how to do things and why these safety guards are in place. Because if you don't, things like G.P. Haggard happens. So, without further ado, I'm going to show you the first set of books. And I got them laid out here, so here they are. This one here is called The Satanic Scriptures by Peter H. Gilmore. It's got an inverted pentagram with a goat inside of it. I know it was kind of hard to read it, but it's a black book. This one here is based on the history of Satanism. I'd recommend that to all who are getting into it. This is the book I told you about on the Satanism scare from the early 90s and late 80s. This book is based on the Lords of the Left-Hand Path. Even Anton Zandalevay's in it. It's very well written and very good. This is one book that people fear, but it's well written, almost like a child's nursery rhyme. And it's very well written and hits the mark perfectly. Arthur Lyons is the one for this one. Okay, and now here's the second group. This one here is called The Christian Satanic Bible by Adam Jeremy Camp. And now here's the third section. Alistair Notch is a former I don't know whether to call him a former or an associate of the Church of Satan. He's very well written. He knows what he's talking about. So I'd recommend him too. That's actually the second edition of this book. You can notice I've read that one quite a bit. It's worn. And that's the Protection and Reversal Magic by Jason Miller that I mentioned. So as you can see, these are all my satanic books. I'd recommend them if you are serious about getting into the craft. Either through magic or just because you feel that you're a Satanist. Learn the history, get into the Bible, understand it, or the Bibles, like I have, and then get into the magics. Because that's exactly what I did. And I had a good teacher. I learned from them, especially within Satanism. And that was all before I got into the magics and the mystics and all that stuff. So, with that said, hail Satan. Have a good night, or a good day, depending on where you are in the world. Keep those horns up. I'm rooting for you.